Hi, everyone, and welcome to Movin' Right Along, a Muppet movie podcast brought to you by toughpigs.com. This is the podcast where we watch The Great Muppet Caper 2 minutes at a time and talk about it a lot. I am your host, Ryan Rowe.
I'm your other host, Anthony Strand.
And today we have a special guest whom I have known for a very long time. Guest, please introduce yourself.
Hi, this is Jason Rowe. I'm Ryan's younger brother. People say that we sound a lot alike, especially on the phone, so I'll be curious to see how confusing this is on a podcast.
You know, people have said we sound alike, and I never really thought so until I started editing this podcast, and I keep hearing myself just inflections and little like chuckles and things, and I go, oh, yeah, that sounds like Jason.
Yeah, I never really thought that we sounded alike, but yeah, if I hear a recording, I can definitely notice it a little more.
So Jason and I have never spoken before, and I've been thinking, boy, that guy sounds like Ryan the whole time. It's been on me.
There you go. It's true. It was true this whole time. I just couldn't believe it until now. And today we are talking about minutes 75 and 76 of The Great Muppet Caper, in which Fozzie's inspirational speech does the trick, and Miss Piggy gets a visit from her lawyer. So we pick up at the end of the minute last week. Fozzie was saying that they have to do this thing. They have to catch the thieves, and they have to clear Miss Piggy's name for justice. And now he adds for freedom, for honesty. And all the Muppets who had previously tried to drop out of this scheme are ashamed. Pop says he feels like 2 cents, which, by the way...
I love that.
It's kind of an old-fashioned expression somehow.
Yeah, it's perfectly old-timey Pop's nonsense. I love it.
Yeah. And 2 cents in June 1981 when this movie came out, adjusted for inflation to today, is 6 cents. So if this movie...
It feels a little better.
Yeah, if this movie were made today, Pops would feel like 6 cents. So yeah, everyone is back in. Floyd says it'll be a lot of fun to go out there and risk their lives. Dr. Teeth says all for one and one for all. And then Sam the Eagle... what's that?
You skipped that Floyd says, I was only joking, which I really like.
Right.
Before he says it'll be a lot of fun to go out there and risk our lives, he says, I was only joking, which to me is the funniest part of that line. He's just like, no, I'm going to set up my sarcasm by making it clear that I'm being sarcastic,
Yeah, there's a couple different layers there. And then Sam the Eagle, whom we haven't seen for a long time in this movie, pops his head in the door and says, at times like this, I am proud to be an American. And then he kind of nods his head and does this little noise.
Yeah, I love the way he punctuates it, with that little
Right, yeah.
So I have two things about Sam here.
Good. The
first is that at times like this, I'm proud to be an American, is apparently prompted by Dr. Teeth saying all for one and one for all. Right? A Three Musketeers reference. So a line written by Alexander Dumas, who is a Frenchman.
Right.
Like, Sam sticks his head in and says that makes him proud to be an American. And then also, classic Sam, he just pops in, says that, I'm proud of you, keep up the good work, fellow patriots. And then he leaves because he's not going to do any of the work. No. Sam doesn't actually care about accomplishing things.
No, we don't see him.
He just likes to talk a big game.
Right, we don't see him during the Mallory Gallery sequence, right?
Right, correct.
Yeah.
He's not there.
Right, so it's similar to his thing before where he just popped out and said, you are all weirdos. Only that time he was disapproving, and now this time he is approving.
Right.
So he's done a complete... This is Sam's arc in this film. He's done a complete 180 on how he feels about the other Muppets.
Well, he does have to get back to his job as the hotel detective, as we've established.
Right, so. Off screen. But of course, the other thing about him saying he's proud to be an American, they're in England. I guess all the characters are American?
Well, except for Beauregard.
Oh, because he's lived here all his life, he said.
Yeah, Beauregard was born in England in this movie.
Right. Okay.
The Beauregard of this movie is canonically British.
The real Beauregard playing a character named Beauregard. So, Fozzie says that speech took a lot out of him, which, good old Fozzie. He's doing his best always.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's so perfect that Fozzie gets this speech. It seems very appropriate for him. I know Kermit gets his fair share of like dramatic, inspiring speeches, but somehow this one, it has to come from Fozzie because he's kind of the one that wears his heart on his sleeve a lot more.
Yeah, that's true. And Kermit was the one who sort of told everyone in the previous clip, like, we have to, like, this is what we're going to do. And then nobody was convinced, but it takes Fozzie's earnest plea to convince them all.
Yeah, that's a good word for it, earnest.
Right. Well, and it's also perfect that, like, that short speech. I mean, he says that took a lot out of me. It's like that very short speech was just like mustering up all of his courage, right? Like Fozzie screws his courage to the sticking place to deliver this very, like you say, earnest plea to his friends. And it's great. It's perfect. Like, and the noise he makes after he's done is perfect. It's Fozzie. It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. What a guy.
Love that guy.
Yeah. And then Kermit tells everyone they got to gather around to make a plan. And that's when the Murphy bed flies up once again, engulfing everyone in this little niche in the wall. It's been just long enough that we forgot that this was a Murphy bed from the previous gag that did it. And I love, so it's two shots. There's the one where it's all the puppets sitting on the bed, and the bed actually raises up pretty high. I'd be curious.
Yeah, that note that I have, I can't figure out how they did that.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know if the puppeteers...
That's what I was going to say. I have a theory.
Okay.
That it's a demon, a dance. No, anyway.
Something isn't right there.
The Murphy bed probably has a bunch of holes in it, right? Like, it's Muppeteers all sticking their hands up through the bed.
Right.
And then as the bed moves up, because the characters are all moving. Like...
Yeah, it's actually a pretty long take. Like, it starts out with Kermit.
They're clearly not just talking, like dolls stapled to the bed.
Right.
So, like, there must be a second bed that has a bunch of holes in it, and then the one that we see go all the way up.
But so then Kermit and Fozzie are sitting at the foot of the bed, and as the bed raises up, that's... I'm just thinking the puppeteers have to be... There's a fair amount of height that they have to raise those puppets in order to make this work visually. So I'm wondering if the puppeteers are just crouching on the ground, on the floor at first.
And then suddenly have to just shoot up in the air.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I mean, Jim and Frank are both very tall.
Oh, that's true.
Do you think they put them at the edge of the bed on purpose?
They were both over 6 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible.
Yeah. Yeah, that could work. And it's, that would be easier than, putting them on some kind of, I don't know, a gimbal or some kind of device that's going to spring everyone up off the floor. And then it cuts in the next shot to the other angle where we see all these Muppet legs sticking out, which is a very funny visual gag.
So good.
Yeah, I like to I think when I was a kid, I like to try to figure out which legs belong to whom. Some of them are obvious, like there are these brown furry legs, like
Fozzie, right?
Yeah, Fozzie's. There's some with shoes, kind of on the right side near the top of the bed. I'm not sure who those are. I guess I could just go back and see who was sitting where. Yeah, that's a fun activity. Match the shoes to the Muppet.
Yeah, somebody should do it and let us know. Give us a complete list.
And now that you've said that, somebody will.
I hope so.
So then Kermit says, or we could just get some sleep. And then the light bulb falls out of the light again, which, again, it's been long enough.
It's another great running gag.
Yeah, we kind of forgot the last time this happened, so it's funny all over again. And it's
this is a weird comment to make, but there's something very satisfying about the sound of that bulb falling out of that light.
Yeah,
somehow old timey cameras with the flash bulbs that you would eject. I always liked that sound, and I don't know why, but this is kind of a similar sound effect.
Yeah, and we do hear flash bulbs in this movie too, because Gonzo's taking pictures. But yeah, is this actually two sounds? Is there one of the light falling and then one of it smashing on the floor?
Yeah, there's one when it falls out.
Yeah, I believe so.
One when it breaks on the floor.
Yeah. Yeah, good sound effects. I don't think we happened to take note of who the sound designer might have been for this movie, but good job.
The sound editor was Nicholas Stevenson, And the sound recordist was Peter Sutton.
Right, there we go.
All right. So one or both or some combination of those guys. Good job.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else about the hotel room scene before we move on? Jason, I'll start with you.
I was just going to point out, I love that shot of the Murphy bed going up, and we already talked about that. It's great because it's a lot of Muppets in a small space anyway, so I imagine it'd be hard to film that, and then when the bed springs up, just an additional challenge. I also noticed in the background of that shot, there's a mirror on the wall, so it feels like they were just trying to make it even harder on themselves.
Yeah, I think they do that a lot, especially in this movie.
Because I watched that clip several times, and you don't see anything in the mirror, so they did it.
Right, you can see the reflection of the light, but you don't see any cameras or any puppeteers or anything else.
Right.
Yeah, they're just showing off.
Pretty much.
Anthony, anything else about the hotel room?
Just when the light bulb falls, and I didn't notice this the first time, so I'm not sure if it was the case then. When the light bulb falls, there are two other light bulbs in the light fixture. There's the one that we see fall, and then there's it looks like just one more, but there's definitely one more light bulb with no fixture around it. When the one falls out of the fixture, the whole lights go out. So I guess that light was dead already, but it just kind of makes it funnier to me that there is another light bulb in the shot.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess it's burned out.
That's all.
Yeah. It seems in character for the Happiness Hotel. So then we cut to the inside of a women's prison where the camera moves past a few tough-looking prisoners as they sort of grimace in the general direction of the camera. And then we land.
I love the faces that those women are making, especially the second one.
Yeah. Well, we find out in a second that I think this shot is from the point of view of the guard. So these prisoners are
it makes a little more sense that way.
Yeah, they're making
They're not just making faces at the camera.
Right, but I kind of like that too, that they're making faces at us.
Yeah, that's true. This movie has broken the fourth wall a lot, so that would make sense.
I love the second one, especially. The one who just kind of seems like she's doing her best, tough lady sneer and seems to be enjoying it a great deal.
Yeah.
Also, I just love imagining camera. Right, exactly. And I love imagining Jim Henson just being okay, look as tough as you can,
Yeah.
You're intimidating. I don't know. It's great.
They make the most of a short time on screen.
For sure. Really, even more so than the cameo guest star. She's on screen for a second and she doesn't even have a line.
Right. But memorable.
Yeah, and again, I like so many people in this, I don't think she's credited. I'm not sure if we know who she is, but she makes the most of her screen time. The camera then lands on Miss Piggy with her hands on the bars. It's very nice that the prison let her keep her pearls and her gloves and the ring.
Yeah, I noticed that. Of course, she looks glamorous even in prison.
Yeah. Yes, her eye makeup still looks lovely. So that's very nice for her. Now, there was actually this scene is one of the biggest departures from the July 22nd, 1980 draft of the screenplay. In the draft, when it cuts to her in the prison cell, she's playing a harmonica. And then the prisoner in the next cell tells her to cut the racket. And the script tells us that the other prisoner is Queen Elizabeth. And then there's...
I mean, she would never have done it in a million years, but that would have...
No, they were never going to get the real Queen Elizabeth for this movie. There's a joke where Piggy says, she's not supposed to be in jail. She was framed. She used to be a famous model. And the other prisoner says, yeah, and I was the Queen of England. And yeah, I almost feel like
so Queen Elizabeth is kind of
like it might have been worth it just to get that joke in. Sorry, go ahead, Anthony.
Just that Queen Elizabeth is kind of like the Henry Kissinger of this movie.
Yes, exactly. Although, as far as I know, this is the only appearance of the Queen Elizabeth character in the screenplay. But yeah, they knew they weren't going to get Queen Elizabeth, just like they weren't going to get Henry Kissinger. But it might have been fun to cast a Queen Elizabeth impersonator.
Just like that Steve Irwin impersonator that was so good in that other terrible movie they made.
Oh, boy. Yeah. That... do we know why that happened? Did they try to get the real Steve Irwin?
I would just be amazed if he had turned it down.
Right, yeah. Yeah, he doesn't seem like
it seems so much like something he was gonna do. You know, like he was in Dr. Dolittle 2 as himself.
Yeah, that's it. But then if he wasn't able to, it seems like anyway. Yeah, maybe we'll talk about that when we do a bonus episode about It's a Very Merry Muppet Christmas Movie.
It's a crappity, Kermity, Crudsmas movie.
Yes. Anyone who's a longtime reader of the Tough Pigs website, or perhaps the Tough Pigs forum, knows that we have come up with an infinite number of variations on It's a Happy, Wackety, Schmackety, Christmassy, Muppety movie thing. Where was I? The Queen tells Piggy that the prison is terrible, but the food is surprisingly well prepared. And then this is all in the draft still, of course. And then Piggy goes off to a calendar and crosses off that date. And then she goes to her bunk. She drifts off. And then there's a whole musical number in this draft that didn't make it to the final movie.
Wow.
It's called Stop. And all the lyrics are actually in the script. It's about how hard prison life is, but she's not going to let it get to her. And then over the course of the song, she's imagining herself going to the prison cafeteria and making license plates and digging a hole so she can escape, and fooling the guards by hiding a dummy with a Raquel Welch head. Whatever that means. I guess like a cutout of Raquel Welch for a face. And then also she's growing a beard. That I would have liked to see.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny, too, that it was Raquel Welch, because in the very famous prison movie, The Shawshank Redemption, posters on his cell wall, which cover a hole that leads him to freedom. I think most of our listeners probably know this. It's a very famous movie. But the last poster, the poster that's on there when he escapes, is Raquel Welch.
That's right, yeah.
I wonder if the screenwriters or Stephen King knew that. Or
Stephen King, yeah.
Yeah. Stephen King was a fan of the July 22nd, 1980 draft of the Great Muppet Caper screenplay.
I like to think he was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is also interesting to me because 33 years after this movie, the Muppets made a movie where Kermit found himself in prison and there was a musical number about him adjusting to prison life.
But not trying to use the Raquel Welch head.
No, I don't. Well, he does try to escape, but does he have a poster? Is it a poster of Piggy?
I don't think so. They do that joke in Muppets from Space where the rats have a Spice Girls poster over the hole that they've dug.
Oh, the Mice
Girls, I guess.
Yes, indeed.
Remember Muppets from Space? The hit movie?
Yeah, I remember. But in the movie that we're talking about today, and in the actual movie, not the draft, we see the prison guard approach Piggy's cell, and she says, "Your lawyer is here to see you, little green guy." It's always there's something about that line, or the way it sounds, or the way her mouth moves. I've always wondered if that was dubbed.
Yeah, there is something weird about the cut and the way her mouth moves.
So can we talk about the prison guard for a second?
Yeah.
Yes.
As with many of the small roles in this movie, she is played by an actress who was probably familiar to British audiences, but is, of course, not familiar at all to American audiences. Her name is Peggy Aitchison. And Peggy Aitchison was on the soap opera Crossroads for 6 years, 1964 to 1970. I think more notably for certainly your purposes, Ryan, she was a regular on Robin's Nest for 4 seasons from 1978 to 1981. Now, do you know what Robin's Nest is, Ryan?
Is that one of those British sitcoms that was adapted as an American sitcom that I don't remember which one it was?
Yes. So the original is Man About the House, which is adapted into Three's Company.
Yes.
And after that show was on for 4 seasons, it became Robin's Nest, about Robin, who's the Jack Tripper character, and his girlfriend opening a restaurant together.
Which was the American.
So that actually was remade as
Crowd.
Right. The American spinoff was Three's a Crowd, which only ran for 1 season and nobody remembers it. But Robin's Nest ran for 6 years and made 48 episodes. And this actress, Peggy Aitchison, was a regular on it as the handyman's girlfriend, Gertrude.
All right. And the theme song for Three's Company was written by Joe Raposo, who wrote the songs for this movie.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's right. It's all double full circle.
Yeah. Yeah, everything is connected. And time is a flat circle.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to point this out. So I think she has a British accent. She says your lawyer is here. Something that came up, or that has come up in my life. I say lawyer because it's spelled Lawyer. I would say your lawyer is here because to me that's what the word is. I think it also has to do with where I grew up. But a lot of
definitely
people
say lawyer.
Lawyer, right?
Yeah, lawyer.
Yeah, both of us having grown up and having had several of the same teachers and the same parents.
Right.
But I think a lot of people in different parts of the country say lawyer, which doesn't really make sense to me.
No, but Ryan.
Yes.
A lot of words. You should let that go because it should make sense to you because it happens all the time.
Oh, sure. But I think it's more of a regional thing than a right or wrong thing in this case.
Yeah, that's probably right. I will say that you and Peggy Aitchison are the only two people I've ever heard say liar.
Well, she says it even a different way.
Yeah.
Your lawyer.
How do you do it? How do you do it?
I don't know. I say lawyer. He's practicing law. He's not practicing loy.
I remember having this discussion back when the show Lost was on too. People would talk about the character.
You're the only
Sawyer.
one I've ever heard.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, they would say
the same thing.
Yeah,
Sawyer on Lost, and I would say, wait, his name is Sawyer.
Wait, who's Sawyer? Yeah.
Yeah, but so you would say that when like Kate or Jack or anyone else addressed him by name?
Yes, every time I would stand up and say out loud to the TV,
because that's the only way his name was ever
Sawyer.
pronounced.
His name is Sawyer.
You guys are insane. You know that, right?
Yes, I do.
You wrote Damon Lindelof a very strongly worded letter about it.
Yes, and I wrote Carlton Cuse another letter, and I wrote Josh Holloway another letter. Anyway, so does that mean you say lawyer,
good.
Anthony?
All worthwhile, I think.
Does that mean you say lawyer?
Yeah, of course, everyone does. Yeah.
So according to the guard, Piggy's lawyer is here to see her. Piggy has a great line there. She says, "Kermie, no wonder he hasn't come by to see me. He had to finish law school." I love that joke.
That is a great line.
How long does it take to finish law school anyway?
Apparently a couple of, or 45 minutes, right? That's how long Piggy's been in.
Yeah, that makes the joke even funnier later.
Yes, that's true. Piggy comes out to the visitor area where she sees Kermit wearing a suit and a mustache. Kermit tells Piggy to call him Rosenthal. He's her attorney because that's the only way they would let him in. And this is the first time this occurred to me. Is he assuming the identity of an actual attorney named Rosenthal that happens to be known around the prison? Or otherwise, why couldn't he just show up and say, "Hi, my name is Kermit the Frog. I'm an attorney"?
That wouldn't be nearly as funny.
Yeah, I was assuming he just tried to pick a name that he thought sounded like a good lawyer name.
Yeah, from the offices of Rosenthal and Rosenthal.
Right.
Which, like, for example, and I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but the way that Piggy drops her voice after she says, "I've missed you so, Rosenthal," like that's why he does it, so that Piggy can do that. Like,
yeah, that's a great line.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, if he was just Kermit the Frog, the lawyer, it would be whatever, but it's like, it's so much funnier. Mm-hmm. I love Rosenthal. I love the mustache, the hat, the fact that that's his name. It's,
yeah, and it's
that long
funny.
Lingering shot on Rosenthal when we first see him.
Yeah, it's a funny name too.
Yes, Rosenthal just sounds funny.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always funny just to see Kermit in a silly outfit or a silly disguise. They do it again a couple times in the next movie. And this is not the only time that we have ever seen Kermit with a mustache, but I think it's probably the first time. I couldn't think of any other earlier examples.
It does seem like something that would be in a like Kermit and Grover bit from the 70s, but I don't know that it is. It just feels like it could be.
Like Grover as a door-to-door salesman and he's selling mustaches?
Right. Yes, exactly.
Right. I mean, the whole thing is funny, too, because Kermit has no discernible nose on his face for the mustache to grow under. So.
That's a good point. Yeah, I don't know how he would decide where to put it.
Right. But yes, Piggy is happy to see him. She says it's been an eternity. Kermit says it's been 45 minutes. This means Kermit had time to leave the fashion show, go back to the hotel, gather the whole gang, give them that pep talk, assemble this disguise, and get to the prison all in 45 minutes. Kermit works very fast.
Yeah, and as Anthony said, it makes that earlier joke even funnier that Piggy apparently thinks you can finish law school in 45 minutes.
Yes. Yeah, that's how long it's been. And then in response to the 45 minutes, Piggy she starts to say, time goes slow and that's where this clip cuts off. Where does time go slow? We don't know. We'll have to wait until next week to find out.
I also like that when she walks into the visitation, the score is the first time it happens. It's a nice little touch.
Oh, yeah. It's like a kind of a slow kind of sweet version of the first time
melancholy, sweet.
Yeah. That's a good observation. I didn't think to write that down. So any final thoughts on these minutes? Jason, I will start with you.
No, I don't think so.
Anthony?
Guard says 2 minutes, Pig, with 17 seconds left to go in this clip. So will Kermit and Piggy be done talking within those 2 minutes? Will they be done 1 minute, 43 seconds into the next clip? We will find out next week.
Yeah, we should definitely time them to make sure. I hope we remember to do that.
I will try my best.
Yes. Yeah, I guess that's it then. So Jason, we like to ask our guests, what is your history with this movie? Do you remember the first time you saw it? How would you rank it among Muppet movies? I will say last season for the Muppet movie, we had Jason's sister and my sister, Erin, on the podcast. And I was kind of surprised that she thought she'd only maybe seen the Muppet movie once or twice in her whole life, which surprised me because I feel like I was always watching these things at home. So I don't know if maybe Erin just like went off to do her own thing or play with her own toys while I was commandeering the TV and the VCR. But yeah, I'd be curious to hear what you remember about it.
Yeah, for me, I definitely remember watching the Muppet movie as a kid, and I have fond memories of that. I don't really remember this one from childhood as much. So yeah, do you think we watched this one as much as the Muppet movie?
Maybe not. I think we had all three of the classic Jim Henson Muppet movies on VHS tapes, but yeah, maybe somehow this didn't make it into rotation quite as much as the Muppet movie.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's it, or the only other thing I can think of is that I feel like the Muppet movie might have better set pieces for a kid. I remember as a kid loving the giant pie, that gets launched onto the car, and loving the giant animal. So I guess I just liked giant set pieces.
I think that's reasonable to assume that a young child would like large things.
Kid. Yeah, so I have those are the things that stick out to me when I think about the Muppet movie as a kid, and for whatever reason, this movie wasn't as memorable for me. But yeah, when you guys started the season, I went back and watched it, and I think the Muppet movie will probably always be my favorite, just because I kind of have those memories and that nostalgia of watching it growing up. But I will say this one is definitely funnier. I think it's probably the funniest Muppet movie.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big reasons why it has taken the number one spot on my list. But
and it's interesting. It definitely has the old school movie musical feel to it. But watching it, I was kind of getting like a Abrams Zucker vibe too, kind of Airplane in terms of the pacing of the jokes and just all the visual gags.
Yeah, I could see that, and just sort of the volume of the sheer volume of the jokes and how
just how it's bam bam bam, all these jokes.
Yeah, and how silly they're willing to get with them.
Yeah, so that part of it is probably why I like it the most.
Sure. I guess I wouldn't be surprised if maybe young kids are slightly less interested in old-fashioned Hollywood musical homages.
Right, just give me a giant custard pie and that's all I need.
Right, still, to this day.
Yeah, that I would still be happy with a movie that has a giant pie or a giant animal.
Well, now I know what to get you for Christmas. A giant custard pie.
There we go.
So with that, then, we will wrap things up for the week. Listeners, please check out toughpigs.com on the internet, Facebook, Twitter, and all those things. Please do tell us what you thought of this episode and all episodes by checking out the post for this episode on Facebook or Twitter, or drop by our Tough Pigs forum, which is linked on the front page of toughpigs.com. You can find me on Twitter at @MeRyanRowe and Anthony on Twitter at @ZeppoMarxist. Jason, where can people find you and any internet presence of yours online?
Nowhere, really. I have a Twitter account, but I use it pretty much just for lurking. So, I don't really have much of a presence.
You are probably better off.
Yeah, I'm kind of, I feel that way sometimes.
For your mental health.
Right.
So also, listeners, if you don't mind, please give us a positive review on Apple Podcasts or wherever, and tell all your friends about the show, and join us again next week for another episode of Moving Right Along. See you later.
Bye.
Goodbye.